Wealth Studios. This is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. The U.S. has launched a search and rescue operation after American fighter jet was shot down in Iran. ABC Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz has more.
This was a two-seater aircraft. The pilot would be in front. The weapons systems officer would be in back. And this would be a very dramatic and very dangerous rescue. Iran's Revolutionary Guard saying that Iranian forces had shot down the U.S. fighter overnight, with Iranian state media releasing images of the wreckage of a jet and of an intact ejection seat.
Sources say Iran is also searching for the pilots, offering a reward for their capture. Here in Utah, we have a breaking update to a case out of Summit County where investigators arrested a woman who they believe killed her husband and dumped his body along a rural county road. We just learned the woman's boyfriend has also been arrested. Court documents say Francisco Santos Morales was arrested at his home in Layton this morning, and they also found the vehicle they believe was used to transport the body. We spoke to Summit County Sergeant Skylar Talbot last evening about the murder.
This was a blunt force trauma situation.
The woman arrested yesterday has been identified as Rihanna Chavez Sandoval. She told police she attacked her husband because he was violent with her. Your money at this moment. The markets are closed today for Good Friday, but the futures are down. The Dow down 103. Coming up, it looks like we'll have cooler temperatures today, but warmer for the weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Most financial advisors only manage your money. They refer you out for taxes. They refer you out for estate planning. They refer you out when things get complicated. Did they really vet that person? Or did they meet once, exchange business cards, and call it a partnership? A referral isn't accountability. It's a handoff. When your investments, taxes, and estate plan are built separately, gaps happen, and those can cost money. At Trajan, we didn't build a referral network. We built a family office for all. Wealth, tax, estate. One team delivering coordinated planning, once reserved for the ultra-wealthy. If you want real coordination and not just introductions, call Trajan Wealth today.
Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see. quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. And back to you, Cormac.
Still stop and go backups on southbound Wasatch Boulevard and eastbound Little Cottonwood Road as you try to get into Little Cottonwood Canyon. Heavy and slow delays if you're trying to hit the slopes on this Friday to get an early start to your weekend. We also do still have these delays in Lehigh, eastbound Pioneer Crossing, and 2100 North, both heavy and slow trying to get onto I-15. Although 2100 North looks like their delays have eased up just a bit, and still seeing just a touch of northbound I-15 slowing in Utah County just after 1600 North. You deserve a home that feels like a sanctuary. Dreammaker Bath & Kitchen makes remodeling simple with one team, fixed pricing, and clear timelines. Schedule your consultation today at dreammakerremodel.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll have the coldest day in a while today. The high's only 49 degrees. A freeze warning is just about to end in Salt Lake Sandy, West Jordan. The sun will come out tomorrow with warmer temperatures. We'll get up to 60 tomorrow. Right now it's 39 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So some 300,000 registered voters in Utah are receiving or have received a letter from the Lieutenant Governor notifying them that because of a new law just passed by the legislature, their voter records, their voter registration information will no longer be private unless they meet certain criteria. And people are pretty unhappy about it.
This is in response to Senate Bill 153, which was just passed and signed by the governor. It says that if a voter's registration record was classified as private without a reason listed before April 6, 2026, that voter's registration will be reclassified as a public voter registration record unless the voter submits a form with the required proof to their county clerk. So it gives them some notice to give that information as to why their voter information should be private.
So I want to clarify what is considered public information. So that would be a voter's full name, their date of birth, their residential and mailing, not their date of birth. I'm sorry, their full name, their voter identification number, residential and mailing address, their voting precinct and districts, their party affiliation, their status as an active or inactive voter, the last date the voter's registration record was updated, and a list of elections in which the voter cast a ballot. So if you only vote in the general election, that information will be out there. If you vote in every primary and every general, that information will be out there. And then personal identifying information like the full date of birth, your driver's license number, your social security number, those remain protected.
So to me, your address is pretty private information, and your party affiliation probably could be. So those are two things that would be troubling, and apparently are a little bit troubling to some of our listeners.
Well, we already have texts from listeners, and if you've got a question, you can text us 57500, and we'll try to get an answer for you. Because we have with us on the line Shelley Jackson, the Deputy Director of Elections from the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. Thanks for joining us, Shelley.
Thank you. Good morning.
So first of all, sorry, why did the Lieutenant Governor send out these letters that are landing in people's mailboxes?
Great question. Yes. So the Lieutenant Governor is the Chief Election Officer in the state of Utah, and so it is her responsibility to notify voters of this change. And so this isn't our policy decision. It was a policy and a bill passed by the legislature. But one thing that we did advocate for during the session was that we felt that it was very important that voters get proper notice and have time to, maybe file that at-risk form or just to know what was going to happen.
Can you tell our listeners basically what was contained in the letter, what information is given to these voters?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are going to be two different letters going out. The first one that started going out this week was to people whose records are currently withheld, which up until this point has meant that they were never given out to parties. Their names never appeared on lists when the public or the parties asked to get voter lists. The second letter that will start going out potentially today, probably next week, is a letter to the voters whose information was considered private, which meant it never appeared on a public list, but it did appear on lists requested by the party. So we've had this weird kind of multi-layered level of privacy before, and now we're going to a much simpler, you're either private or you're not.
So Shelley, there's a couple of themes that I've already seen emerge from the texts and comments that we've gotten already, and one of them is how does this protect me from scammers, and the other one is why is all my information being made available?
Those are great questions. The list has to be purchased at this point. So it's not like it's just appearing on a website or anything. Someone does have to make that request through our office, and they do have to sign a form and make assertions that they're going to handle the data carefully. And then your second question, sorry, what was your second question?
Why is my private information being made public?
Historically, voter records, and in many states, have been and are very public. It kind of started, the genesis of it was to make sure that you weren't being unfairly taken off the rolls, so you could always have that information available and know that you were still on the rolls. That was definitely before, the day and age where we had online, we had all of these data privacy concerns. But that's the genesis of it. And really the parties, the candidates were very upset that they felt like there were huge gaps of Utahns not appearing on their lists when they made the request.
So you talked about two letters, one which went out recently, Shelley, and the other one's going out soon. Are these two different groups of people?
Yes. So the first list, the letters that people have gotten this week, those people, their records up until this point had been protected, so that anytime a party or the public requested a list, their names were not ever appearing on those lists. But now potentially they will be.
So, Shelley, then of course the follow-up question is, if people want to keep their information private, what do they do? What are the guidelines for people who can qualify for that?
Yes, good question. So, and that's why the letters went out now. The letters that went out this week had what we call an at-risk form with it. And so if the people qualify, meaning they're active duty military, they're law enforcement, they're a public figure, someone that is worried about some domestic violence issues or have a protective order, or anyone living in a household with someone that I just listed off, can fill out that at-risk form and return it to their county clerk. And those forms can always be completed and turned in at any point. But in order for these records to not be disclosed, they do need to be returned by May 25th. Because if they're not done by May 25th, the voter will become public and then would have to make themselves protected.
So if I, for example, don't have any one of those qualifying conditions, but want my records private, I cannot have them made private?
Unfortunately, that is now correct, yes.
Okay.
So, Shelley, one of the things that I've already seen from several texters, if they're saying that if that's the case, they want to just unregister and they won't be registered to vote anymore. Do you have any idea if the legislature considered that consequence?
We do know they considered it because we brought that up as a consequence, and they felt the transparency was more important, and they felt like that people would not choose to unregister themselves. Unfortunately, we have already heard from callers yesterday in our office of people who were literally at a county clerk's office unregistered, and that's unfortunate, and we absolutely hate to see that.
Yeah, and I hate to even go down this road, but I just wanted to ask, can a person, and I don't want to know how exactly, but can a person unregister to vote?
Yes, it's just really a written notice to your county clerk. The county clerk will want certain information to verify that that's you and it's not someone doing it on your behalf. But unfortunately, yes, that is a fairly easy thing to do.
Well, let's hope a lot of people don't do
All right, Shelley, stay with us. We're going to come back with more questions after the break. And just to our listeners, if you've got questions, text us 57500. We're going to ask Shelley your questions and share a few of your comments. Stay with us over the break.
We want to talk about SOTA, diet, and nutrition. SOTA stands for state of the art. And Andy and I both let go of massive amounts of weight. You more than me.
70 pounds in 5 months.
And I did 37 pounds in 3 months. And what worked for me was so many things. Talking to a nutritionist every week and having her tell me what to eat. I can do as I'm told.
Yeah.
But I have no clue where to begin.
And I needed the help too. It's just food. There's no pills, no injections. So you learn how to both let go of the weight and then how to keep it off.
So SOTA diet and nutrition is a great place to start. But if you started with pills or medications and you find yourself starting to gain some weight back, SOTA diet and nutrition is a great way to learn how to have a new relationship with food to go into the future.
You can talk with a nutritionist by calling 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A, or you can go to their website, sotadietandnutrition.com.
Join now and your partner joins for free. 2 people, real accountability for the price of 1.
Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
What is it, boy? Someone need help? Someone in trouble? Oh, okay. So you just want me to get Progressive Auto Insurance because their collision coverage covers up to $1,000 in vet bills if you're injured in an accident? That's it? Okay, calm down. Let's not resort to name calling.
Progressive's collision coverage helps pay for care for your pet when they're in the car during an accident.
No, you're right. Sorry, I shouldn't have said calm down.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage included with purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you can tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
Does your home have peeling paint or faded colors? Don't procrastinate. You need to protect your home with quality paint and a worry-free process, so make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. You quickly get a free estimate that's detailed, easy to understand, and then their trusted local professionals will bring fresh color to your home with quality craftsmanship at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com.
How was your break? It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code THRIVE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code THRIVE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's THRIVE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
911, tell me exactly what happened.
My son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
I said, Josh, where are you? You need to get home.
And her husband will never be held accountable.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but
and you want to think about it for a couple of days?
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
I'm Dave Cawley, host of the podcast Cold.
Then he starts making phone calls to Susan's phone.
Hello, Susan. We are on our way back.
It's the deepest of deep dives into this tragic tale of abuse.
Where was Josh when Susan disappeared?
I don't know.
of one mother's desperate attempt to escape.
This is me, covering all my bases.
Help prevent it from happening again.
Our focus has and continues to be finding Susan.
Listen and learn by following Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
Inside Sources.
Well, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson sent letters to more than 300,000 voters recently to let them know that their voter registration privacy status is about to change, and that's because of a new Senate bill that was just passed, Senate Bill 153, which was passed by the legislature just this year, that required that if voters want to keep their information private, they need to submit a form requesting that and go through a little bit of a checklist by May 6th.
So text us your questions. We already have a ton coming in, 57500. We're going to work to get answers for you with the Utah Elections Office. And Shelley Jackson, the Deputy Director of Elections, is on the line with us. And Shelley, before we go into some of the texter questions, actually, this is one of the questions. How is this different or the same as the Department of Justice demanding all of Utah's voter files?
I'm so glad you asked that. They're two very separate issues. So what the DOJ is asking every state for is the complete unredacted voter list. So they particularly want Social Security numbers, driver's license numbers, full dates of birth, all of those things, which will not be released under any circumstances under this new SB 153. Now, Lieutenant Governor Henderson has been adamant in telling the DOJ that they have not stated a case for it, and she will not, that it would violate some Utah privacy laws, and she will not give it up. And they have actually sued us.
So I just want to be clear. There are two separate issues, and though they seem similar, they actually are not the same. So your voter information in Utah, the part that would be public includes your name, it includes your address, it includes your voter registration status and whether you've voted in elections, primary elections, general elections, etc. But it doesn't include Social Security numbers, driver's license information, phone number, and email. Is that correct?
That is correct. And no Social Security number. Correct.
So, Shelley, there are a class of individuals who can submit a form saying that they qualify for an exemption so that their status can be considered to be private. And one of those is if you are a public figure, I believe. And some of our listeners are chiming in and going, well, what qualifies as a public figure? I know under the law, for purposes of like First Amendment issues and things like that, you can quantify what a public figure is. How do you think your office is going to treat that?
Correct. And so our office actually won't be making any of these determinations. The voter records are the county clerks are the custodians of the voter records. So I live in Davis County, so the Davis County clerk is the custodian of my record. So those determinations will be made by each county clerk.
Oh, so you submit that and say, hey, I think I'm a public figure, and then the county clerk will make a determination as to whether or not you would qualify for that.
Yes, and this legislation did expand public figure to include elected officials.
But I have a question, like, what if you have a county clerk who has a bone to pick? Like, that's one of the issues I think that people have been worried about is saying, well, I know you and I'm not going to give you any kind of protections. Is there any kind of recourse if I file with my county clerk and he's like, I don't like Holly Richardson, so I'm not going to give you protected status or private status?
Yes, and that, unfortunately, we hope that won't happen. That is always a possibility when humans are involved. In that case, I would absolutely ask those voters, those individuals to contact our office, and then we can work with that county clerk and we can, get the attorney general and the county attorney involved.
Okay, I have a follow-up question on the public figure question. What about social media influencers?
Yeah, and I believe that would qualify, and I believe that qualified under the old definition. I'd have to reread that definition, but yes, I do think that would be covered.
Is there like a specific number? Do you have to have I have this many Instagram followers? I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't think it is quite that specific. I'm actually pulling up the law right now, and
while you're doing that, I'm guessing Holly Richardson is a public figure.
I would too.
I would say, and look, you can find me easily
anywhere,
online
right?
and anywhere, and my voter registration information is public and has been since I registered. But Let me ask you this question also then, Shelley. People want to know, can they unregister to vote, register to vote just before an election, and then unregister?
Yes, absolutely. Especially in Utah, we do have same-day registration, so you could show up at any polling place during early voting or election day. That does get complicated, and I do think the way the lists are pulled, that at some point, I think the party or someone would pull that list at a point where your name would show up.
And just to be clear, Holly's not advocating for that.
No, I'm passing on information that our
your county
listeners
clerk is not advocating for that either.
Yeah,
right. No, I know, but we've had more than one person ask that question. They still want to vote, but they don't want their information out there. And I think right now, like we've had multiple texts, but the most common thing I am seeing is I don't want scammers coming after me. One has shared that they felt like their son was targeted with the whole Prop 4 thing, whether you're going to sign, not sign, remove your signature. We've got some older texters that say they already feel like they have scammers targeting them. Would this make it easier? Right? I mean, I think there's some real concern here.
I think these are absolutely legitimate concerns, and I do think the transparency laws around voter registration were definitely evolved during a different time when it was less easy to get those information. But we heard from people yesterday who felt like their employer would target them based on their registration.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my guess is that, my experience, I guess I should say, is that the county clerks try to do a very good job, and they generally do. But some of this has got to be discretionary. For example, if you're a victim of domestic violence, I mean, I don't suppose they have to go in and pull up your criminal case. Maybe if you got a protective order, you've got things like that. There are probably some things that you could submit to help prove that. Do you think that makes sense?
Yes, you could absolutely bring in those. With the domestic violence, our recommendation to the clerks would be to treat that very carefully and to not re-victimize those people, and so to tread lightly with that.
So what about people who maybe don't have a protective order and they're no longer married? Maybe they don't have specific instances of physical domestic violence, but they still don't want their ex to know where they live.
Sometimes
Does that
that's
qualify?
included in a divorce decree, a no contact order or something like that. I think that might be something, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to answer the question for you, but it seems like there may be some things like that can be used by, I don't know, Shelley, I don't mean to speak for you at all, but there are probably some documents you could submit with respect to your divorce decree that could help with that.
Those are absolutely all legitimate things that you could submit as proof. I think some county clerks would be willing to have you write out a statement and attest to that. Again, I don't want to speak for the county clerks, and I know they want to try very hard to stay on the right side of the law and to interpret this and to execute it as it was written. But, again, our advice is to tread lightly with especially that class of people and to not re-victimize them.
All right, Shelley.
And at the end of the day, what we don't want is someone to get hurt or killed.
Exactly. Absolutely. So just to wrap up as we conclude this segment, can you just remind our listeners what is public, what's not, and what the deadlines are?
Yes, great. So the things that will be public, your full name, your address, which includes a mailing address, your party affiliation or the fact that you're unaffiliated, your voting precinct, whether you're an active or active voter, so your voter status, the last date that you've made a change to your voter registration, and a list of the past elections you voted in. Those are all public things. What will absolutely never be shared with anyone is your full date of birth, your driver's license number or your state ID number, and your social security number. And we also currently do not share with anyone email addresses or phone numbers. Next year, part of this bill does allow the voter to consent to share an email or a phone number with the party they're affiliated with, but that would have to be done through direct consent by the voter, and that is not until next year.
All right.
The deadline to get these all turned in is May 25th.
Wonderful. Thanks, Shelley. That was Shelley Jackson, Deputy Director of Elections for the Office of Lieutenant Governor. And I have to say, the Lieutenant Governor's office and the county clerks are probably going to be taking some heat for this, but it wasn't their idea. This was all legislative. And
contact your legislators.
Contact your legislature. When we come back, this is a case we've been following. Investigators have arrested a woman in Summit County who they believe killed her husband and dumped his body along a rural county road. And we learned this morning that her boyfriend has also been arrested. We'll give you the updates on this really interesting investigation straight ahead.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, police have identified the man killed by a Utah Highway Patrol trooper on I-15 last week. The driver, accused of approaching the trooper with a knife, was Syed Musavi. Musavi died at the scene and the trooper was uninjured. Official documents say Musavi was arrested back in 2024 for threatening to shoot up the police station and kill Americans. The jobs report came in much stronger last month, adding 178,000 jobs. Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spenlove says it's a big turn from last month.
Last month, there was an impact of the labor strike in California, so that did drag that down. But also, we're just kind of at this period in the economy when we're seeing some of these larger fluctuations. It's kind of a combination of seasonality. You know, we are coming out of the end of the year. Plus, we've got just some kind of fundamental changes to the labor market that are going on.
Spenlove says it's likely impacted by the war in Iran. Our top national story this hour, U.S. officials tell ABC News Iran has shot down a U.S. fighter jet over Iranian territory. Iran's state media has supposedly shared photos of the wreckage of the jet and an ejection seat. ABC News contributor, former State Department official, and retired Marine Colonel Steve Gagnon says U.S. military assets are already flying over the area.
We're seeing some extraordinary pictures coming out of Iran that appear to be credible, showing U.S. Air Force combat search and rescue C-130s and Blackhawks at low altitude searching for these crews. So they've got the best of the best out there looking for them, and hopefully that this has a happy ending.
Iran has issued a reward for the capture of the pilots. Your money at this moment, the Dow futures, because the markets are closed today, so they're down 103, S&P down 18, and the NASDAQ futures this morning down 88. Today will be the coolest day we've had in a while. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
This weekly tax tip is brought to you by the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants. Here's CEO Susan Spears.
If you have student loans, don't miss out on the student loan interest deduction. Here's the good news right up front. You don't have to itemize to claim it. If you paid interest on student loans in 2025, you may be able to deduct up to $2,500 on your federal tax return you'll file this year. That applies to loans for your own education, and in some cases, loans you're legally responsible for, like Parent Plus loans. What surprises people is how this deduction works. It's considered an above the line, meaning it reduces your taxable income before your tax bracket is even calculated. There are income tax limits, and the benefit phases out as income rises.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a licensed CPA. Visit uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. And check out new tax tip videos by following on social media at Talk to Your CPA. Brought to you by Envision Utah.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. And back to you, Cormac.
Very calm roadways all across the Wasatch Front. I-15, no major accidents or delays. Even your delays that you usually see in Lehigh, a little bit lighter, still maybe a little heavy eastbound Pioneer Crossing. Where we have heavy delays, that's on southbound Wasatch Boulevard and eastbound Little Cottonwood Road, trying to get into Little Cottonwood Canyon. Heavy and slow as folks try to hit the slopes. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny and colder today. The high will only reach 49 degrees. Tomorrow, lots of sun, 60 for a high. For Easter Sunday, we'll get up to 67, and we'll start next week in the low 70s. Right now, though, it's 39 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, we are learning this morning that a second suspect was arrested in connection with the murder of a Utah man who was found dead in a rural area of Summit County last week. Francisco Morales, age 31, was taken into custody and booked on charges of felony, desecration of a human body, and obstruction of justice. His girlfriend, who was the victim's wife, her name is Reina Chavez Sandoval, was arrested Wednesday on the exact same charges. Importantly, the charges do not include the homicide. They're charged with discretion of a human, or desecration. Why can't I say that word? Because I've charged that crime and seen that crime a lot, believe it or not, and obstruction of justice.
So KSL TV's Garna Mejia has more on the investigation where we're at right now.
It's a murder investigation spanning from Midvale to this remote stretch of road just outside of Park City.
There was a deceased body discovered in a rural area of Summit County, just off of a roadway near Browns Canyon Road.
According to court documents, a nearby security camera captured a car stopping here. Individuals dragged a man's body away from the road early in the morning on March 26th.
Their investigation led them to Midvale, where they were able to interact with and interview the decedent's wife.
Investigators think the wife, 41-year-old Reina Chavez Sandoval, was involved in her husband's murder, along with her, quote, boyfriend, 31-year-old Francisco Morales. According to arresting documents, the wife told investigators Morales killed her husband with a hammer as he slept.
This was a blunt force trauma situation.
So I think authorities, you read between the lines there, and that was KSL TV's Garna Mejia, as you indicated. The authorities are trying to figure out which of these two actually caused the death. Both are charged with the post-death desecration
of
and
a body,
whatnot, which are serious charges themselves, but not nearly as serious as a homicide, a murder.
So, Mr. Legal Expert, help me understand then. So, I guess what we do know is a man was dead. He's dead. Blunt force trauma. His body was transported and dumped.
Right.
So just moving a dead body counts as desecration?
Yes, you cannot move a dead body. You can't do anything with it. But and certainly moving it and dumping it in the weeds is desecration of a human body.
Okay. So as this unfolds, I guess this is the initial charges. They're incarcerated, right? They're held in jail
they're both
right now?
held in jail right now while they're investigating the homicide. And it appears, again, just from Garna's statement, that both are sort of indicating that the other may have done it. As parties to the offense, the prosecutor may end up charging them both and saying, look, we don't, whether you did it, whether you're the one that slapped him with the hammer or not, because it looks like it was a blunt force trauma, you're both going to be charged with this. I don't know. The Summit County Attorney's Office just came off a 4-week trial up there with Corey Richens, so they're probably exhausted right now. But they're having to look at a two-defendant, not a double homicide, but a two-defendant homicide here, and the body being dropped in their county. Now, the people were arrested in Midvale, which means that Salt Lake County might be the venue of the murder charges.
Because that's probably where the murder took place.
That's where he lived, and that's where she lived. So that
Okay.
may be where the murder took place. So Summit County may be limited to the desecration and the obstruction of justice. So hiding a body or throwing it away would be obstructing justice if you're investigating a homicide.
Okay.
And desecration of a human body, like I say, you can't move a body. You can't do anything if you find a dead body. You have to stay with it.
So there, I see that there's some information that the wife of the victim told police that she attacked her husband because he was violent with her, but maybe he didn't kill him. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect like we talked about just in the last segment, domestic violence is such a huge thing. This may have been something like that she did it out of self-defense or something like that. That doesn't give you the right to move the body or do something like that, but it may be a defense to the homicide itself. And then her boyfriend helps her, and so the authorities have pretty good information and evidence that these two were involved in moving the body into Summit County. And
I have one more question before we pivot to a different case, and that is, it's a little bit ironic that it's up in Summit County where we just had Corey Richins, who was a woman who just was convicted of killing her husband, and this is a woman who they're at least looking at potentially involved with the death of her husband. It seems rare that women are the perpetrators in these types of crimes. Has that been your experience, that it's a lot more common for the men to be the perpetrators?
Oh, much, much more. I mean, you're right. Some people call it the burning bed syndrome. You know, a woman's finally had enough, and she does
lights
what
the
she
bed on
needs
fire.
to do. And kills her husband. Those are very rare. We do see them once in a while. I mean, Lori Vallow, she now is convicted of killing her ex-husband for other reasons. But yeah, usually in domestic situations, when things get out of hand, it's probably 9 times out of 10 that the male is the one charged with the homicide, or the one that commits the homicide, I should say.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to ask you about this. A 14-year-old boy has been charged with murder after police say he stole a car in Ogden and crashed it. It's the one that resulted in the death of 2 children from the same family. So I wanted to ask you about that story.
Yeah, so Ogden police, after the second child was pronounced dead, have now charged this 14-year-old with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder because there were other people in the car, and a number of other felonies, including evading the police officer and whatnot. I mean, a total of 8 charges. I think 6 are felonies and 2 are misdemeanors. He's 14. He's currently being held in juvenile detention. He was the driver of the car, allegedly. We don't know his name, and because in juvenile court they don't disclose that information. But currently he's being held in a juvenile detention facility in Weber County. And it's interesting in this case that the county attorney's office have said that they're going to take him into the district court, which means to me they're going to try to put him in the adult system.
So we've talked a lot on here about juveniles being charged as adults, but mostly it's been like 16 and 17-year-olds. 14 seems pretty young. Do you have any insight onto why they would charge him as an adult?
I think two dead bodies, I mean, is one thing, and it was a pretty outrageous driving situation. People that drive and kill aren't the best candidates for murder because murder requires a knowing and intentional act. His knowing and intentional act was stealing the car and driving it recklessly, not necessarily that he have the mind to kill somebody. So I think they're going to have an uphill battle on that. But with 2 bodies and his outrageous conduct, I mean, stealing the car and just blowing through whatever he was doing was so bad that I think that the Weber County Attorney's Office just thought we have to do something with this kid. He may have a prior record. We don't know that. But that's a hard case to prove a murder for a driving situation, that you're not really pointing your car at somebody. That's the classic murder would be pointing a gun or using a knife, or what the case we just talked about, a hammer to the head or something like that.
Well, Michael Jane actually down in Utah County used a vehicle as a weapon, at least part of the charges, right?
Right, and they're saying
that was
actually
deliberate.
Drove it. He spun around and drove it at the police officer.
That he used
that's
it
their
as a
allegation,
weapon.
right?
Yeah,
yes,
right. Well, that's interesting to me, and I think we'll follow this case for sure because it seems pretty unusual to charge a 14-year-old with murder, and especially, as you pointed out, maybe with a car.
Yeah, so under our Serious Youth Offender Act, you can charge 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds in the juvenile court, and it's a little different for the, like we said, 16, 17. If he's 13, you can't charge it. He's never going to the adult system, right? But you can. You have a preliminary hearing in the juvenile court that looks just like an adult preliminary hearing, and then the judge for a 14 or 15-year-old has to make a determination if it's in the best interest of the minor and the public to take him into the adult system. So they'll go through his prior criminal history, maybe just even his educational history, mental health history, things like that. Did he have a past?
Right.
Did he have some mental health problems? Is he got other issues? And they'll decide whether to bring him into the adult court. But right now, they're saying he will. Juvenile court, and we've talked about this before, I know we're running out of time, can keep him in juvenile detention until age 25.
Yeah, that's right.
That's 11 years. It's not like a slap on the wrist by any means.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to follow that for sure. So next, amid heightened diversity and polarizing issues, young people seem to be returning to faith. So we're going to ask, is Gen Z making a comeback to religion? We're going to talk more about this with Maria Chaleos when we come back after this break.
It was opening night at Hale Center Theater for The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Victor Hugo's classic tale. I was with my son, Ian, and it was nothing short of spectacular. The staging, the costuming, the music, it's simply breathtaking. And, of course, the actors and the voices. You have to see The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's on the main stage right now at Hale Center Theater. So many of the scenes are never to be forgotten. For example, when Frollo is just struggling with his passion for Esmeralda and his soul, the flames and the tension on the stage is unbelievable. And to see the Hunchback up in the tower with the bells, don't miss Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's underway right now at Hale Center Theater. And continuing, Peter Pan Goes Wrong. That's on the Jewel Box stage and Hallmarked on the Beehive stage. Get your tickets now. hct.org. Don't miss the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word INBOX to 57500. That's INBOX to 57500.
Oil isn't the only resource hit hard by global events. American farmers are sounding the alarm by fertilizer prices at planting season. Will this disrupt our food supply? Raising prices cause shortages? I'm not waiting to find out, and neither should you. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com, get a 3-month emergency food supply. They'll include $200 worth of extra survival protein absolutely free. After serving more than 3 million American families since 2008, you can trust MyPatriotSupply.com. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com.
Here's the tale of Tina, searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Till Good RX wrote in, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I'd put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
If your water heater's over 10 to 15 years old, congratulations. You've beat the average. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I love hearing stories of people having water heaters that are really old and they're still doing their job. Unfortunately, most of us won't be that lucky. And when water heaters fail, it's usually in spectacularly inconvenient fashion. Whether it's an unexpected cold shower when we're already running late for work, or worse yet, coming home to a flooded basement, it's never fun. If you'd like to look into replacing your water heater before it fails, Any Hour Services is having a sale for any homeowners listening. Whether you're looking for a new tanked water heater or you want to see what upgrading to a tankless would cost, the plumbers at Any Hour Services can show you what options are available. And right now, you can save $400 on a tanked water heater or $1,200 on a tankless. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services today and schedule your free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Not sure how to tackle your taxes? Are you sweating the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it, with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either. Because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself and Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley. A gripping new podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest.
If he had dumped two, you would have thought maybe there's another one.
But now a witness, identified in the podcast, could lead investigators to Jamie Grissom. Binge Stolen Voices of Dole Valley wherever you get your podcasts and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the latest breaking news in the case.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Amid a time of heightened polarizing issues and diversity and conversations, are young people returning to faith?
I would say before I approached a lot of things through a lens of passion and anger, if that makes sense. Like, if I would see, like, something going on or in the world that just would make me angry, I am noticing now more going to church that is impacting my spirit when I allow myself to get angry at something and not pray about it. So it's changed my life in that now when I see something that makes me upset, I just go to God and pray for mercy. I think that's been the most beautiful part about this whole experience, is asking God for mercy and grace.
That was Christiana Roy, a young adult, speaking about her own connection to the faith during difficult times. And this is something that's really being featured on a special that's airing this weekend called A Return to Faith, Young Adults, Religion, and the Search for Meaning.
Maria Chaleos, you're joining us in studio. Thank you for this.
Thanks for having me.
You're hosting this special, and I want to know, what made you want to ask these kinds of questions?
You know, for decades, we have heard that young adults are leaving their faith. Not so much their faith, but they're leaving church, right? They still believe in God, but they are not going to church like they used to. We've heard that for decades nationally. But then in the last few years, we've heard these anecdotal stories in our local community that we are seeing more young adults coming back to church. And so we wanted just to kind of look into this. And I think it's really interesting today because the Catholic Church released a statement saying that they are seeing a surge in people either coming back or coming to the Catholic faith. So we wanted to explore that. So we talked to 3 local churches, church leaders, about what they are seeing. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Greek Orthodox Church of Greater Salt Lake, and South Mountain Community Church. We talked to the leaders from those churches, and we also talked to 7 young adults about what they are experiencing. And it's interesting to see how many young adults are coming back to faith and how they're approaching it.
It was interesting. You mentioned something, Maria, when we were getting in, during the break here, that kids young people aren't just going back to church. They're doing a little bit of research. They're looking at, it's not necessarily going to mom and dad's church or the one that you were raised in or something like that. They're doing some research.
It is very intentional. They are looking at the historical basis of the church, what the beliefs are, and then really going to the church and experiencing the church before they select which community that they want to belong to. And I spoke with Dean Athens. He is an active member of the Salt Lake Greek Orthodox Church. He also teaches a course called Orthodoxy 101. And I asked him why. Why are they doing this?
Probably lots of things. Adult responsibilities, perhaps parenthood, conditions in the world, and Christianity in particular is an anchor of stability, especially Orthodox Christianity, where we view salvation as healing, and so they look for spiritual health. And when they have spiritual health, or when they're on the road to spiritual health, emotional health and mental health follow. And so they want wholeness, again, in their lives because it's fragmented because of, all kinds of things, consumerism, political problems, environmental problems. They see all these problems, wars, and Christianity is a stabilizing factor amidst all that chaos.
Maria, just earlier with the Christiana's segment, she talked about, it struck me that she talked about the anger that she was finding herself in and looking for a way to feel peace. I'm paraphrasing, of course, her statement, but I'm wondering, was that a common theme that you found? Were people looking for a way to kind of, balance their mental health here?
Kind of a way to deal with the chaos that they feel is happening in the world right now. A lot of them feel like they're not alone, and that they are alone. They don't want to feel alone, and so they're looking for a community where they can really experience their faith. And yeah, it's a common theme.
Yeah, and you spoke with different young adults about their connection, and here's Cassie Bellow.
A huge part of it is a hope that if I continue to live this way, even when difficult situations arise, even when I have questions, I'm not alone. That I have a Savior who is there beside me, who understands me perfectly. And there's also a community of support as well within the church. And also there's a hope that better times will come, whether that comes in this life, in the next life, or both. I'd say that hope is a huge motivation for what I do as well.
Yeah, Cassie is a young adult in Utah County and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And she says, her faith really provides her reassurance in an uncertain world.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, as we talk about a return to, maybe a return to formal religion, did they express to you at all this idea that I had been religious or I had been spiritual, but now I really feel this need to go back to organized religion?
Yes, and some of them were looking for a different religion. They did not feel like they belonged in their religion, the religion that they grew up in, and maybe that's why they do so much research, is they want to see what other religions believe. So it's not just it's really going back to church more than going back to faith. Mm-hmm. Like I said, many young adults, if you look at the numbers, believe in God, right? They just have not been going to church.
Right.
In fact, the pastor from the South Mountain Community Church said, it's great that you think you can go outdoors and you're still celebrating God, but it's not the same thing as being in a church and praying.
That's actually really interesting to me.
Maria, how did you break it down? How did you break down this hour in different topic segments, or was it just all sort of talking to people who are experiencing this?
We just really wanted to explore it fully. And so we have broken down the segments. Andy Farnsworth did a lot of editing on this, and he's kind of broken it down in things like, first of all, looking at what have we seen as far as the numbers go, right? And the fact that we can't really tell you that there are not any poll numbers that show exactly what these numbers are. And so just kind of describing how we kind of set out on the journey. And then he broke it down like a search for hope and connection and what these young adults were looking for. And then, looking back to ancient traditions and the history, why they have gone back and looked at, kind of the historical traditions of each of the religions. And then, all of the faith leaders that we spoke with talk about why community is still important. So that was a segment that we looked at as well. Why is community so important to them and not feeling like they're alone?
I have to ask another question.
Sure.
And I don't know if this is the big elephant in the room, but do you think part of this, Maria, just from what you've done here, is in response to things that are happening in our country right now, sort of the tension and the dissension and the lack of agreement? Do you think people are looking at religion as a way to maybe get us back together?
I think that there's no doubt about all of the people that we spoke with believe that our world feels chaotic, and more chaotic to some. And if they don't have that sense of community, that sense of belonging, that is a big factor, right? They're not just looking for Jesus, they are looking for a community where they can pray and go to church with people who believe like them, who are supportive of them. And they're looking for that positive influence in their life, that sense of purpose even.
Mm-hmm. You know, this is an important weekend for Christianity. It's Good Friday. Today we're heading into Easter on Sunday. It's also the season of Passover. And I just, it's really interesting to me that you were talked to somebody who said you're not finding God in the trees the same way that you find him at church. That really is interesting because I've heard so much about, a return to nature, right? But your special is titled A Return to Faith, Young Adults, Religion, and the Search for Meaning. When can we hear this?
Okay, so you can hear it at 1 o'clock on Saturday on KSLNewsRadio.com as well as KSL Radio on the app, of course. And then after the specials air, all of the specials that we're doing for conference will air at KSLPodcast.com, so you'll be able to listen to all of them.
Sounds like you had a lot of fun doing this.
It was fun.
Really
I loved talking to people. I love learning. I would have liked to talk to more churches, but, given the time that we have.
Yeah, thank you, Maria.
3 was all we could do.
Thank you so much, Maria. We'll look forward to that.
you.
That's Saturday at 1 p.m. When we come back, U.S. officials have reported that it appears that Iran has shot down a U.S. fighter jet over Iranian territory. Pilots are still at large. We'll discuss that after the break.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
At KSL News Radio, I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, a large-scale search is taking place in the Middle East right now after a U.S. jet was hit and went down over Iran and the 2 pilots on board ejected. The U.S. is flying helicopters and surveillance planes to try and find the 2, and Iran's regime is offering a reward for anyone who turns them into the government.
The most immediate objective right now is for the United States to find these 2 pilots. Hopefully they were able to eject safely, but where they landed and what state they're in, and have they been able to not be detected by the local population, wherever that place is in Iran. These are all the things that are right now, as we speak, that the military is trying to figure out.
That's former National Security Council Senior Director for Counterterrorism, Javed Ali. We've picked up some impressive rain and snow totals over the last couple of days, but that hasn't stopped the expansion of Utah's drought. The latest readings from the U.S. Drought Monitor show just under 60% of Utah is now in extreme drought for the first time in more than 3 years.
I would definitely say this year was pretty much the perfect example of what we don't want in the West.
National Weather Service meteorologist Brittany Whitlam, says this is due to a perfect storm of a record low snowpack, record warm winter, and inconsistent precipitation. She says our water supply is what it is until next winter, but more rainy weather like this could at least help us slow the drought and wildfire conditions. Your money at this moment. The markets are closed today for Good Friday, but we follow the futures. The Dow futures down 103, S&P down 18, the Nasdaq down 88. It'll be a little cooler today, but the sun is coming back out. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
What is it, boy? Someone need help? Someone in trouble?
Oh, okay. So you just want me to get Progressive Auto Insurance because their collision coverage covers up to $1,000 in vet bills if you're injured in an accident? That's it?
Okay, calm down. Let's not resort to name calling.
Progressive's collision coverage helps pay for care for your pet when they're in the car during an accident.
No, you're right. Sorry, I shouldn't have said calm down.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage included with purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. And here's Cormac Bone.
Delays have really eased out as you try to get into Little Cottonwood Canyon. It's still a little slow on North Little Cottonwood Road, but otherwise you should be able to get in there just fine as you try to hit the slopes. Eastbound Pioneer Crossing in Lehigh, still heavy and slow trying to get onto I-15. That starts near 7800 West. I-15 itself, though, a clean and clear drive all across the Wasatch Front. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're going to get up to 49 degrees today, and we could hit freezing tonight into tomorrow morning. But then it warms up for the weekend. Sunshine and 60 on Saturday, 67 Easter Sunday. Right now it's 39 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, Holly, there have been some significant developments in the war in Iran. One, the United States blew up an Iranian bridge. It apparently was the largest bridge in the country, and even more significantly, we are told now from ABC News that it appears that Iran has shot down a U.S. fighter jet, and of course the U.S. military has launched a search and rescue mission for the pilots, and the Iranian officials are obviously doing the same thing. People were not sure what the jet was, who was in it, but it appears now it may have been an Air Force F-15. Here's more from ABC News Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz.
This was a two-seater aircraft. The pilot would be in front, the weapons systems officer would be in back. And this would be a very dramatic and very dangerous rescue. Iran's Revolutionary Guard saying that Iranian forces had shot down the U.S. fighter overnight, with Iranian state media releasing images of the wreckage of a jet and of an intact ejection seat. The IRGC said it was an F-35, but from the images that we do believe are credible but have not independently verified, it looks like an Air Force F-15.
And it appears more and more that people have confirmed that it's in fact what they call an F-15E Strike Eagle, which would have had two pilots on board.
My brother flew the F-15 Strike Eagle. I'll just note that.
Oh, wow.
So, look, it is a fighter jet. It is a top of the line fighter jet. I think, what did we see? It's a $28 million plane. These things are not invulnerable, however. And so when I hear that the U.S. is searching for the two pilots, and I also hear that Iran is searching for the two pilots and that they have rewards offered for their capture, I'm very worried for those two pilots.
Yeah, and of course, the search is underway from both sides. And here's more from ABC Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz.
They did eject separately. That is how that works, within milliseconds of one another. So they are not necessarily right by each other, but certainly in the same vicinity. But this could really put a lot of pressure on the Pentagon and the American public if something happens. difference here.
You've got to assume that this is an absolute race to get those pilots from both sides. It puts whoever finds these two pilots is going to be have a little bit of an advantage over the other side, just as in the whole hostage problem.
You know, I think, to me, in spite of words that we've heard that this has almost come to its conclusion, this is a real war. Right? I mean, we're losing our people, and hopefully they're still alive, and hopefully they will be rescued by the American side. And you know, my dad flew in the Vietnam War, and then my brother flew in the first days of the Iraqi War. He flew the F-15 Strike Eagle. My dad flew reconnaissance, but knowing how these pilots try to get in to get their comrades out, right? These emergency rescue missions, they're really, really important. And you can imagine, as you just said, that it's a race. It's also, in my opinion, really, well, first of all, it's really unfortunate. That's clear. But it comes on the heels of firings by Pete Hegseth for some of the most senior officials in the U.S. Armed Forces.
Right. And that's another thing. It's just a stunning and kind of a weird coincidence.
Pete Hegseth has fired many senior officers since becoming secretary, but these firings, including the chief of staff of the Army, come in the middle of a war where thousands of Army troops have been dispatched to the Middle East.
The highest ranking Army
Army chief.
Was fired. And I think that there's got to be, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Shouldn't guess, but I think there's some concern about how this war is going about, who's in charge, and what the ultimate end game is, because it doesn't seem like we have a clear answer here. I mean, the United States came in. Iran is not Afghanistan. It's not Argentina. It's, you know what I mean. It's not.
They actually have some weapons that can do damage for sure.
And I think that they've been supplied by the Russians, and so if they can shoot that an F-15,
that's exactly
they've got
right.
Something that they're doing correctly. At least at a higher level than other countries. So, you know, this is a conflict with a very sophisticated country that has very sophisticated weapons. And, you know, before we talk more about the shakeup within the military, you know, think about those pilots. I mean, I can't even imagine what they're going through right now, because they're wondering
trained for it.
When they start seeing and hearing vehicles or people approaching, they don't know if it's the good guys or the bad guys.
Well, I am telling you 100%, my brother could not give us all of the information on how he was trained, but I can tell you they are trained for the scenario. They do know what to do. And unless they were injured when they landed and maybe lost consciousness, they are absolutely prepared to be downed behind enemy territory. It's just that it's so unfortunate, right? Unfortunate. It's just not a big enough word. So look, you just mentioned that Hegseth has fired the chief of staff of the Army. He's the top Army guy, but he has fired other people as well. He fired, in fact, 4 generals yesterday, which is just, it's really unheard of. But an NBC News story has linked those firings to the refusal by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to promote more than a dozen Black and female senior officers across all 4 branches of the military. And they are flat out saying they are being targeted because of their race and their gender, or because they somehow had an affiliation with the Biden administration in some way. So the process within the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines is structured to get the most qualified officers to get promoted. And we've seen news stories recently that these people are being blocked. At first it was 4. Now we're seeing at least a dozen people have been blocked. And so what NBC News is saying is the chief of staff of the Army would not go along with blocking these promotions. He was continuing to say, look, these right here, these people need to be promoted.
That was 4-star General Randy George. The last thing you want in a wartime situation is politics.
Is to get rid of the head of your
and
people.
Politics within the politics is internal dissension. You absolutely have to. You can't do that. I mean, this country has to be united on. At least the military does. The public's never going to be united about a war, no matter who started it or what they did.
It's the changing horses midstream. But I'll say this about Hegseth. So yesterday we know that Pam Bondi was fired, the Attorney General, for the country, but we mentioned on our show that I think there might be some cracks showing with Hegseth and the administration, because I've seen the president say things like, this was his idea, like pointing the finger at Hegseth. So if somebody's going to take the blame for something, it could be that it ends up being Pete Hegseth.
Okay, so this is breaking news, and it's only on CNN. I don't know that it's corroborated, but CNN is claiming that the United States has recovered one of the pilots. That his or her condition, name, anything identifying is not known, but CNN is breaking that the U.S. has recovered one of the pilots.
Well, let's keep an eye on that then as we go to break, and you stay with us so that we can bring you the latest.
Are you stuck staring at your W-2? Are tax refund worries holding you back? You probably have FOMO, the fear of messing up. The fix? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. It's time to overcome your fear of messing up and get your taxes done right. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our Timeshare Exit Kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free Exit Info Kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.
It's the movie show broadcasting live from Sound Sleep in Sandy today. We're joined by Mandy Nelson from Sound Sleep. And my favorite word on some days, Mandy, is the word sleep.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're not getting the right kind or you're not getting enough of it, you feel it all throughout the day.
That's true.
It affects so many different things. And we'll get into some long-term effects. I mean, obviously people get cranky when they're tired. But for some people, they might have something a little bit more than just, I didn't get enough sleep last night, or I snore a little bit. They could have something called sleep apnea.
Yeah. Yeah, sleep apnea is really scary. It's an obstruction of your airway throughout the night, and a lot of people don't know that they're doing it. And so today we have a great offer for your listeners.
Isn't it odd that we don't realize that we're doing it, but whoever may be sleeping near us or not sleeping near us, as the case may be, notices that we're being affected by it?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, snoring is a big one with sleep apnea, but I have a lot of people that say, yeah, my wife says I stop breathing at night.
That was the one that freaked out my wife. So what's the offer you've got for our listeners today?
So today we're offering a free sleep screening, which is just a at-home sleep test that you can come in and pick up and do in the comfort of your own bed. You bring that back and we will give you a free consultation. We'll go over that data with you and see what's going on with you while you sleep. The data gives us a lot of information.
And then if you do have sleep apnea, you guys aren't recommending the big CPAP machine that some people have either heard of or seen or had a sleep partner use.
Right.
And they're like, that's not for me. You guys have an answer for that.
We do. We've got a custom fit oral appliance that you wear at night. So you don't have hoses and masks and plugs. It's just something that you wear in your mouth and go to sleep.
We had a power outage the other night.
Yeah. What'd you do?
I popped in my oral appliance.
Exactly.
It was so much easier.
Yeah.
And if you travel at all, I mean, these are all great benefits that come from this. But in order to take advantage of this offer from Sound Sleep, you've got to make the call between now and 1 o'clock when the movie show ends. The number is 801-716-8672. And again, you'll get a free sleep test. We'll have Mandy explain that upcoming. And then that free sleep consultation. And, hey, we might even have an extra bonus that'll be thrown in if you call during the movie show. We'll save that surprise, although if you call now, you'll still be part of it.
Yes.
801-716-8672.
Now streaming on Angel, The Parables of Jesus, the Good Samaritan, is a powerful cinematic retelling of Christ's parable set in a fractured first-century world simmering with turmoil, suspicion, and quiet hostility. Told through intimate performances and moments charged with moral tension, The Good Samaritan draws viewers into the weight of each choice and the cost of Christ-like love. It leaves us with the Savior's enduring question that confronts every generation. Who is my neighbor? Experience The Good Samaritan today with your family. Now streaming on Angel.com.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
where survival,
It's dark now. I have nothing.
is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion, and that of the sheriff, is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
I think my biggest challenge was getting through to him to understand that love is real and you have goals in mind, you have things that want to happen, and I want to help you get there.
Sometimes people tend to shy away from wanting to adopt teenagers because they feel like they've lost so much, but there's still so much to gain.
Just knowing that there's just that other person that cares and loves me out there, it feels great. And they've done so much for me, and I can only be appreciative every single day for just having them in my life.
I think it's been the best decision because I gained a son, and he's the best son ever. If I was down and out, he'd be there.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Following up on a story of the U.S. fighter jet that was shut down by Iranian military, we do confirm, at least two stations have confirmed, we're looking at NBC News and CNN, that one American serviceman has been rescued. One is still missing from the downed U.S. jet. We're following that closely. And in our last segment, we talked about the fact that they would have been ejected at slightly different times, milliseconds, they said, but at a jet flying 1,800 miles an hour, that could be quite a difference. But I think I can't even imagine the technology is not the word, but the amount of what happens, how you can get into another country and rescue one of your own pilots when you're in another country. I mean, that's just stunning to me.
Remember the movie Black Hawk Down? They were going in on a rescue mission. So we know that it happens. We know we have the capability, and obviously we do because we already have at least one. We think at least one pilot rescued from this downed F-15.
Yeah, so we'll continue to follow that. We may have more information as we go on here during the show today, but this whole thing, and even we talked earlier about the fact that the United States had bombed the largest bridge in Iran, and some people are saying that's a violation of that's
international
law.
Law.
A war crime. Yeah. That's not the kind of thing civilian infrastructure is not something you bomb.
So speaking of Iran and bombings, Iran also bombed, I think it was in Kuwait, a desalination plant, and they depend 90% of their water comes from desalination. And so again, we're in spite of hearing that maybe the war is coming to an end, it feels like there's an escalation, right, that's going on right now. So related to that, the president released his budget proposal, and he wants to boost spending on defense to $1.5 trillion.
Yeah.
$1.5 trillion on defense spending. Of course, that would mean that his budget for domestic spending is cut.
Yeah, and CNN's also reporting that a poll was taken of Americans whether or not they supported putting boots on the ground into Iran. 11% support that. It's a little higher with Republicans than Democrats. Independents about 7%, Democrats 4%,
Well,
Republicans 23%. But overall, 11% of Americans think we should send troops into Iran. That's pretty telling. And you'd hope that the administration and the Hegseth would take that into account when we consider what our next step is in Iran.
Well, that's the latest that we have right now. So we'll keep you updated during our show. Next, what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about the life of a showgirl. It seems like we have to have a Taylor Swift segment about once a month on this show, and I can only blame our producer for this.
Okay, so you can break down this lawsuit for us, but there is a lawsuit that says that Taylor Swift's The Life of a Showgirl stole the spotlight from the life of another showgirl.
Yeah, so there's a lawsuit has been filed in California from a woman who had her own confessions of a showgirl, and she's saying, her name is Maren Wade, she's saying that it was that Taylor Swift's life of a showgirl stole the spotlight from her, and so she's claiming that this is a breach of her brand, and it's a trademark infringement lawsuit technically, but to me, I don't know, this is pretty weak that you would mistake Life of a Showgirl from Taylor Swift in 2026 to something that happened in 2014, Maren Wade's Confessions of a Showgirl. I'm thinking there's something else going on.
My question is, Taylor Swift is obviously a top-tier celebrity with a lot of money. Could that be the reason?
Oh, you got to be kidding me. You're so smart. And I'll tell you another thing. It also brings attention to her own, the plaintiff's own column, her own,
Sure. So she gets attention. It's like, so people are going to go look.
People are going to go look hers up. Whether she wins a lawsuit or not, she's already won. But because this has happened before. But this isn't the first time Taylor Swift was sued over the name of an album. Last time, Utah was actually involved.
Wouldn't be forevermore.
So is there Evermore Park in Utah?
It's not there anymore, by the way. So it's down in Pleasant Grove. Well, I'm sorry. It used to be. Evermore Park was down in Pleasant Grove. It went bankrupt and out of business. But they tried to sue Taylor Swift, I understand.
So these trademark lawsuits drive me nuts. And I'll tell you, give you a better example. The Utah, what are they called now? The Mammoth wanted to be the Yeti.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody voted for Yeti. Everybody said we should call it the Yeti. And
they couldn't do that.
They couldn't do it because Yeti.
The drink thing. Oh, no. Like
the Yeti
coolers. The Yeti coolers.
Said no. And so, but the issue is, would people mistake a hockey team for a cooler chest? Seriously, that's the thing. You can't, I don't know why we gave that up so easily. I mean, just the lawyer in me says, no, a judge.
But they can have multiple things. So maybe they have coolers and they own a hockey team. I don't know.
But they don't. I mean, we had the same thing with our Salt Lake was going to be the Bees or something like that. And they had a little mascot that was the bee, and the Georgia Tech, they're the Hornets or something, and they said, no, you can't call your mascot the Bees. And so we didn't call our team the Bee. I mean,
well, we have a Salt Lake Bees, though.
Come on. I know, but you couldn't have, the mascot couldn't be the Bee. He had a name or something. I mean, I shouldn't even mention it since I butchered it so badly. But we think about the world of things that you know about, the things that you're comfortable with. You get a concept, you think, okay, like you have KSL News Radio. I mean, nobody's going to set up a radio station called KSL News Radio, but if you have KTV or whatever.
Well,
news
let me
radio,
let me tell you an ad I heard the other day. So Ozempic is the name brand of a weight loss drug.
Right.
I heard somebody calling their natural supplement Lozempic. It's like, that seems really darn close.
That one seems much closer. And back in the day when we had all these rock and roll stars suing each other, they'd write a song and then somebody else had a song that was very similar to it.
You change
like,
one letter.
Come on, give me a break. You don't want to poach off somebody else's good deeds and their good work and their success by setting up something that's so closely similar that people are mistaken about it. But I mean, I don't know, this one against Taylor Swift. She's just in the limelight. She's a target. she's a big name and she's got a lot of money.
Let me ask you about this, because I know there's all kinds of merchandise, right? So I'm sure there are official Taylor Swift brands for T-shirts, etc. What about people who do other kinds of swag or whatever, and they brand it as a Taylor Swift thing? How does that play in?
I've actually seen a lot of pictures, and there's like this box of donuts that I bought, and it has a picture of a woman with that sort of same haircut and glasses that Taylor Swift has on it. It's clearly not her.
But it's not her.
But if you think, okay, why do you do that? I don't know, to make it look like it's Taylor Swift or something. I don't even know why I thought about that. But you just have to look at how close it gets and whether or not it would affect the first person that with N-Line's business, whether or not a reasonable member of the public would mistake one for the other. And then you're stealing their brand. You're stealing their.
So what about if somebody does it like on Etsy, right? So maybe they do take a Taylor Swift something or other, and maybe they're putting her image on a water bottle, and something that says Swiftie because you're a fan.
Oh, I think that what Swiftie that's probably her brand. I mean, I think Swiftie, if she hasn't copyrighted that, she should. But that would be over the top. I think she could absolutely send something to them and say, knock it off. You're not going to be able to do that. We had it right. What was it here with the FanX or whatever we called it?
Oh, yeah. It used to be Comic-Con.
Comic-Con. And San Diego said, no, we have our own Comic-Con, or had a different name for us. We had to change it to,
we changed it to
San
FanX.
Diego and it's Salt Lake.
Well, but it's FanX now, not Comic-Con.
I know. It just seemed like, come on. I don't know.
All right. Well, I've been trying to find out more information about the pilot that has been rescued, and all I can find is that CBS News is the original news source saying that one pilot has been rescued. We don't have any other information.
Let's hope that by the end of the show, which of course is still half an hour away, that we've got the other one. The fact that the first pilot was found by the U.S. is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's monstrous, and I think it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. All right. Look, we already talked about it being Good Friday, but it's also General Conference weekend for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which means downtown Salt Lake City is going to be packed. We're going to bring you everything you need to know about traffic, parking, and even what it's like to sing behind the podium during General Conference. Stay with us.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour. NBC and CNN are reporting one of the pilots who ejected from a U.S. fighter jet shot down over Iran has been found and is in U.S. custody and getting medical care. But the second pilot is still missing. We will continue to monitor this breaking situation. The Summit County Sheriff's Office arrested a man in Layton today who is the boyfriend of a woman accused of killing her husband and dropping his body off near a rural county road. Court documents show deputies also recovered a car in Layton they believe was used to transport the body. We spoke to Summit County Sergeant Skylar Talbot last evening, who told us how they tracked down Rihanna Chavez Sandoval after the body was found.
Their investigation led them to Midvale, where they were able to interact with and interview the decedent's wife.
Chavez Sandoval told deputies her husband had become violent, so she killed him in his sleep, and she called her boyfriend to help out. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is calling 73 new Area 70s the day before General Conference. The church says those being called will begin their service sometime in the next few months. And a reminder, we will air all the sessions of conference on Saturday and Sunday, and we have special programming surrounding each session. Your money at this moment. The markets are closed today for Good Friday, but the futures on the Dow are down 103 points, down on the S&P 18, and the NASDAQ futures down 88. Coming up, cooler today, sunny and beautiful for the Easter weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
The Movie Show broadcasting live today from Sound Sleep. We're one of their 7 locations. We're at the Sandy location, but they've got locations in Clearfield, Murray, here in Sandy, American Fork, Provo, and St. George. Wait, is that 6 or 7, Mandy? I always get myself
6.
confused. Okay.
No, we've got 2 in Vegas.
Oh, 2 in Vegas. So if you keep going past St. George, you can hit a couple in Vegas. But they've got a deal right now. Why do I tell you where they are? It's because when you hear about this opportunity to check to find out if you have sleep apnea at no charge, you're going to want to find out where your closest sound sleep is.
Yeah, we're close to you.
Yeah, so you got to call during the movie show to make this appointment, between now and the end of the movie show, I should say. But when they call in, what do they get?
So today we're offering a free sleep screening, which is a take-home sleep test to find out if you do have obstructive sleep apnea.
Now, is that a multiple choice test?
No.
No?
No,
Tell us a little bit about the test.
It's just a machine that you wear at night. There's a little chest strap, and then you have an oximeter on your finger and a cannula in your nose. Super comfy. It's not a big deal. You've done it.
Yeah, and let me tell you, the original sleep test I did like 15 years ago, I looked like Frankenstein. I took a picture of myself because I had stuff all over me and electrodes shooting out every which way. This is nothing like that, but you get the same result.
You do. You get the same result. You get to sleep in your own bed on your pillow. You bring it back the next day, have a consultation with one of our sleep specialists. They're going to go over the data with you. They're going to talk to you about your oxygen levels, your heart rate, how many times you stop breathing. How many times do you stop breathing, Andy? Over 3 minutes?
Over 3. Okay, so for the stopping breathing, I think my max was 1 minute and 5 seconds, which still surprised me.
Yeah, that's a long time. Over 10 seconds.
I was
is too
thinking
long.
more of the how many instances I was having, which was more than 1 per minute.
Yeah,
that's what freaked me
scary.
out the worst.
Yeah. So it's going to give us all of that data, and then we're going to talk to you about our oral appliance that we offer, so you don't have to deal with a CPAP machine. You don't have to have a mask on your face and air blowing down your throat all night.
And can I say what a pain it is to find distilled water when you're traveling?
I know.
But it's getting hard sometimes at the grocery store now.
Well, everything's hard to find nowadays.
Well, that's a fair point. But we can solve all of that with
we can.
An oral appliance to help correct sleep apnea. 801-716-8672 is the number to make that appointment and get in on the free sleep screening and free sleep consultation. You'll be entered in to win a prize that we'll tell you about coming up. 801-716-8672 at Sound Sleep.
You're the gatekeeper of green, the master of mowing, the wizard of watering schedules. When it comes to your lawn, power moves are the only moves you make. That's why you use IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program, with nutrients blended for greener, healthier turf in our local soil. IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program. It's the ultimate lawn owner power move.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at UCCU.com. And here's Cormac Bone.
No issues on I-15 through Weber, Davis, and Salt Lake counties, and through most of Utah County you're going to be okay. We do have a crash, though, on the transition ramp from southbound I-15 to go to US 6 in Spanish Fork. They're blocking 2 right lanes and causing some backups just on that transition ramp. I don't see any delays on main flow I-15 in Spanish Fork. And we do still have some light delays eastbound Pioneer Crossing in Lehigh trying to get onto I-15. But the delays that you had at Little Cottonwood Canyon are gone. If your roof needs repair or replacement, do it now during S&S Roofing's huge spring sale. Flexible financing options are available. Get the best value on the highest quality roofing job. Get a quote today at snsroofingutah.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll have a few clouds today and 49 for a high, so on the cool side. In fact, tonight the overnight low will be 32 degrees, so bundle up tonight. Then tomorrow, sunny and 60 for a high, 67 on Easter Sunday. Right now we have some clouds and 39 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So this weekend, in addition to being Easter, is the General Conference, semi-annual General Conference for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which means that we're going to have a lot of people in downtown Salt Lake. Now, I don't know how often you have followed the weather on the 1st of April, but I can tell you there are multiple first weekends in April where there's been snow, but I don't think we're going to have that this weekend.
Here's KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson with that.
Got a beautiful weekend on tap. How about a 49 today, partly cloudy skies. We'll go 34 overnight, mostly clear. Tomorrow, sunshine, 60. We bounce back to 67 by Easter Sunday with a couple of high clouds sneaking in by afternoon.
That is perfect
It
weekend
really
weather.
is. It'll be a little chilly in the morning when you're like waiting in line. But I will say I was just downtown it was Tuesday already, and I walked through some of the flower beds around Temple Square. They're so gorgeous right now. The tulips are out, the daffodils are out, the hyacinths are still out, and the cooler weather has helped them stay, vibrant. So for people coming downtown, weather should be great. That's really awesome.
There's a secondary problem you have on conference weekend.
Yeah.
And that is
Traffic.
a lot of people are coming downtown.
Yeah, that's right. So traffic and parking. So I don't come super often, but I have been, and you have to give yourself a whole lot of lead time to be able to find parking, or you can take public transportation. It'll drop you off really close to the conference center. But the conference center will hold 21,000 people. There are 4 sessions of conference this year. There's not 3 on Saturday. So there's 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and the conference center can hold the 21,000 per session. However, there's also overflow that can, just kind of spill out all over. So
I was sort of embarrassed that I had no idea how beautiful the conference center was until you, you and your husband invited my wife and I to that event that we did with the Tabernacle Choir at the Christmas special. And that venue was world class.
Oh, it
was just spectacular.
Well, speaking of the Tabernacle Choir in Temple Square, we have, and somebody who knows a lot about traffic and parking, by the way, we have Jim Bennett with us. He has co-hosted with me and I think with you.
Yep.
And he sings in the Tabernacle Choir. Thanks for joining us, Jim. I think we have Jim.
That's okay. We'll get
Maybe
Jim.
You not hear me? Hello.
There he is. Hi,
There
Jim. How
he
are
is.
you?
Yes.
That's okay. Jim, look, thanks for joining us. I thought we could get some since we're inside sources, I thought we could get some insider perspective on what it's like to be in the conference center behind the podium when all of that is unfolding. Can you just give us some personal insight there?
Well, sure. It's just absolutely delightful. I mean, singing in the choir is one of the great joys of my life. But getting there, I mean, the way you're talking about traffic, I always feel a great sense of relief when I'm just finally seated in my chair and I've gone through all the rigmarole and gone through the gauntlet to be able to get up there, because the security is very tight and the traffic is just nuts and the parking is crazy. I usually take tracks to get in because I don't want to navigate the parking, although we are allowed to park in the conference center, but it's just so difficult that I just do whatever I can to avoid it.
How many conferences will this be for you, Jim, in terms of being a part of the choir?
Oh, gosh. Well, I started in 2019, but they took 18 months off for COVID. So
about a dozen.
Probably about a dozen or so, sure. And, it's singing in conference is wonderful, but I would be lying if I didn't say that the Sunday conference day is a very, very long day.
Yeah, so from an outside perspective, I know that you have music and the spoken word before the morning session of Sunday conference, and then you sing in both sessions. So how early does your day start on Sunday?
Well, usually on Sunday it starts at 7:25. You have to be there for a rehearsal before music and the spoken word. But for Conference Sunday, I think the call time is 7:15. So you're there from 7:15 all the way till 4 o'clock. And you do get a lunch break, and they give you a really nice box lunch in between, and you go sit in the small theater at the conference center and eat your lunch. But that's the only break that you have, and you're rehearsing in between sessions, and it's just a very, very long day. And while I personally feel a greater connection to the divine through music than through anything else. And so I just eat it all up. But at the same time, you feel like you've accomplished something when the day is over.
It must be something to be in the choir, Jim. I mean, I can't even imagine what that would be like. Of course, I can't sing, so it's not even a question. But I mean, we've seen just in the last year traveling to other countries, traveling within this country. I mean, just what's that experience been like for you?
There is nothing bad about it. I have nothing bad to say about it. And it's a wonderful way to participate in the church as well. This is your church calling. I mean, a lot of people will say, geesh, the sacrifice, the amount of time. And I said, it's so much better to be a musical missionary singing with the choir than to be a young men's president or, and these other kinds of things. But it's just delightful. And the travel is wonderful. And you meet, particularly when we went to the Philippines, I was amazed. I'm 6'4", so I think I was taller than just about everybody that I met out there, and they all wanted to take their picture with me, and I just thought, geez, I feel like Elvis. I'm a rock star here. But the people are wonderful, the response is wonderful, and there's just no downside to it. And they kick you out when you turn 60, and I'm 57, so I'm going to milk this as long as I possibly can, because it just doesn't get any better than this.
I personally think music is one of the highlights of conference. I don't know if you have permission, but can you tell us, if you can, is there a favorite song you're going to be singing this weekend?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say specific songs. We are singing. I think I can say we are singing a number of Easter songs. I think the focus has been on really sort of embracing Easter in a way that I'm not sure the church has done before. We're now celebrating Palm Sunday, which we never used to do before. But there are going to be a number of Easter hymns.
All right.
So I can say that.
It's got to be something like you say, like Elvis, to be performing in front of an audience of 21,000 people, Jim. That must make you all, even though the choir's large, feel pretty special.
Well, it is and it isn't, because you also sort of feel anonymous. At the end of every music in the spoken word, we always get a standing ovation, and I go, well, how much of that is for me? I'll turn to the guy next to me and say, oh, this is all for you, Brian. And so it's actually kind of fun, because you're really a very small cog in a very large wheel, and the choir organization is just stunning in terms of how efficient it is. I mean, the logistics of getting 500 people to Brazil and taking care of them for a week and planning all these concerts, it's just mind-boggling. And all I have to do is show up, sing, and go home. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to look for you. I'll look for you, see if I can see
You'll
you
never
standing
find
there in the
me
back
because
row.
I'm in the back row.
I know you are, because you're tall.
Because I'm tall.
All right.
Are you a baritone?
I am a second tenor.
Oh, there you go.
So, and people ask me, do you know so-and-so? And I'll say, well, are they a tall second tenor? Because otherwise, probably not.
Okay.
Thanks
so much. That was Jim Bennett, who sings in the Tabernacle Choir, who will be singing on Temple Square this weekend. So remember, weather will be great. Traffic will be intense. And if you're going to tune in, KSL is carrying all of those conference sessions, as well as sessions in between. And you and I are going to have our own. It'll air at noon tomorrow. Immigration in Utah, finding balance between fear and freedom. And when we come back, we're going to talk to the movie show. So stay with us.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
The movie show is broadcasting live from Sound Sleep today. I'm joined by Mandy Nelson from Sound Sleep. Mandy, I was reading an article in the Washington Post last month. There was something that I made sure I made notes on because I wanted to talk with you about this. Mm-hmm. And it was the stress that sleep apnea causes on the brain. We've talked about the heart. I was surprised at the stress that was on the brain, and this was out of the study. Because each apnea triggers a mini alarm in your brain, and it jolts you out of sleep. So all those restorative stages of sleep that the body and the brain rely on for recovery and repair, you're not getting them.
You're not. And also, when your oxygen drops below 90, there are cells in your brain that start to become affected. And so if you're not getting into deep and REM sleep, that's where we start to get concerned about dementia, memory loss, all that type of stuff.
And that's much more than I feel cranky today. I'm
Exactly.
extra hungry today.
Yeah,
I mean, this is like
long-term.
serious long-term stuff.
Yeah.
So how do we find out if we have sleep apnea? Because not all snoring is sleep apnea.
No, I mean, most of the time it is, for sure. But no, you need to do a sleep screening. So, and that's what we're offering today. So we're offering our free sleep screening and our free consultation. So our sleep screening's easy, like we were talking about earlier. You just take it home with you, wear it in the comfort of your own bed. It's very minimal. Bring it back the next day. We'll sit down and go over it and talk about what's going on when you're sleeping, how long you stop breathing. I mean, we've seen patients that stop breathing for over 3 minutes at a time.
So how does your appliance fix the sleep apnea?
So obstructive sleep apnea is a relaxation of the lower jaw, the tongue, the muscles in the throat. And so CPAP is blowing that open. The mouthpiece is positioning your lower jaw forward just a little bit to open that airway naturally.
It also means you can sleep on the side away from your...
You can. Yeah.
I got so used to sleeping on one side that I think my hairline is actually adjusted over the years, honestly. But to take advantage of this offer of a free sleep screening and a free sleep consultation at Sound Sleep, you have to call between now and the end of the movie show at 1 o'clock. That number is 801-716-8672. It's 801-716-8672. You can also go online at soundsleepmedical.com.
Yes, and we have a new and improved fancy new website too. So go check it out.
That. All right.
I know.
Call Sound Sleep 801-716-8672.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we help Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow is going to be. It's going to be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
An expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Today's a little bit of a retracted Inside Source because it is a Friday, which means we're going to break an hour early for the movie show. But that doesn't mean we don't have our fun facts and our fun facts of the week. We actually had an interesting week and an interesting day today.
Yeah.
We don't have any update on the pilot situation, but we'll keep you posted if something happens on that.
I do want to update our listeners on the voter registration information. So if you want to file with your county clerk to be in a protected status, you need to have that in by May 6th. So there might have been some confusion earlier. By May 25th, everybody who has not confirmed that private status, their records will be public. So you have until May 6th to send that in. Or hand deliver it, right? Okay, today is April 3rd, Friday, April 3rd, and I wanted to note that in 1860, the Pony Express debuted on this day.
Seriously, it
Yep.
didn't last very long.
It did not last very
people
long.
think of it had a great legacy. In
It
fact,
really
I
did.
I do this bike ride out in the Tooele Valley every year. That it's called the Pony Express Century because we follow some of the Pony Express route out there.
Yeah, and so it was on this day that it debuted. And you know what's funny, when we go out to visit my husband's family out towards Kansas City, right before you get to Kansas City, as you cross into the state, that was the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
And that is where the Pony Express debuted. Is in Missouri. Okay, so we also have on this day in 1964, Malcolm X gave his ballot or bullet speech, right? And he was asking people to use the ballot. Thank you. In 1968, so 4 years later, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his final address. It was the one where he said, "I've been to the mountaintop.
Yeah.
And I've seen the promised land." And he's basically saying, "I don't know if I'm going to be there with you." And it was within a day or two that he was shot and killed. I think it was actually a day.
I listen to that speech in its entirety every year on Martin Luther King Day. It's an amazing speech. It goes through some things I've talked about on this show, and I won't go through it again, that are just off topic but so beautiful you can't even imagine it.
And then finally, my final fun fact before we get to the movie fun facts is the U.S. Secretary of Commerce Ron Brown and 32 other Americans were killed in a plane crash in Croatia on this day in 1996. So if you remember that incident at all, I think the plane crashed. It crashed into a mountainside on its approach to Croatia's international airport. The Air Force attributed the crash to pilot error.
I want to go back to the Martin Luther King speech, and I'll just say this quickly. I teach at trial advocacy, and when I talk about closing arguments, I'll play parts of that speech just for the power of persuasion. And, message aside, the power of persuasion. And I think if you listen to that and you're giving a speech or like I do, a closing argument, it's a good way to understand how you can really get to people.
I did double check, and this speech was given the night before he was killed.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we have Andy Farnsworth and Val Cameron to talk to us about big movies of the week. Hi, guys.
Yes, there really is only one big movie of the week, and it's already quickly on its way to becoming the highest grossing movie of this year because it had a 2-day head start on everybody else, and that is the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And it is animated, it's based on video games, and I have 100% confidence that Greg Skordas has not seen this movie or the original one.
Nor will I.
I think
Nor will he. Or has he ever played any of the Mario video games?
No, they're too painful.
Oh, I didn't know he was against fun.
No, I'm not. It's like
All right, tell us about Mario.
All right, so this is a sequel to what was the massively successful movie, the Super Mario Brothers movie from 2023. First of all, I was a little surprised. It's been 3 years already since that came out. It went really quick. And in this one, they bring back all the characters, and I'm trying to figure out how to explain this for Greg's sake. I'm just going to kind of have to assume that none of this is going to make sense to Greg, and it's all just going to be a lot of blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to say it for everybody else's sake, which is a bunch of video game characters do what they do in the video game, but only on the movie screen.
But I think there's more of a story here because
they
you've
jump
got this
up and down
family
on
element.
Yes, they do. And they punch these boxes that have question marks on them.
And there are colors and stars and little dingy coins. Yeah, it's a lot of super fun. But there's also a family element that's in this movie that I really loved. It's so adorable.
So Mario and Luigi are brothers, and in the first movie they worked with Princess Peach to liberate her from the evil Bowser, who's voiced by Jack Black. And Bowser's now this like 2-inch little villain. They shrunk him in the last one, and he lives in a little castle inside of a castle. And that's where the funny comes in. Is Jack Black kind of brings a lot of the comic relief. What this does is this brings in so many additional characters that it's almost hard to keep track of everybody. You're definitely at an advantage if you have played the games. Or, honestly, if you've only played one game, it's Super Smash Brothers, because a lot of the characters from this movie, that's how my kids know them, because my kids didn't play some of the early Mario games, but they play Smash Brothers on the Switch all the time. And so they were recognizing characters that I didn't even recognize. Oh, that's so-and-so. Oh, that's so-and-so. That was why I was glad I watched it with them.
I loved it because even if you had not played the newer games. As a kid, they went into like this old school section where you got to see like the 8-bit, the 8-bit of what we played when we were little, because we're old.
Oh, that's kind of fun. I actually have never played it, but
So Val, when you say Jack Black, is that the voice, or did they have? Is it a cartoon? I guess.
You know what? Sometimes with Jack Black, you never know if
Right,
it's
yes,
him
that's what I
or
was
the
curious about.
cartoon.
Right.
He is a cartoon, but no, he's great, and he's got all of his songs and voices. And then you have the mini him, which is really great. And then
Which is just him on helium, basically.
It is. It's just him on helium.
that sounds dangerous.
So there is a story, and there is a followable story. Like this isn't. I've kind of glossed over. There is an actual story where the son of Bowser has come to free his dad, and he's got this whole idea that I don't want to give away too much of the story for people who are going to see it, but there is also involves a relative of Princess Peach that she barely remembers or doesn't know that she has, called Princess Rosalina, and there are cameos that make an appearance. There was one cameo that I thought was the reason that they made all the theater owners sign NDAs when they screened it for him a month ago. But then I found out Nintendo posted a character, gave out a character poster of this character who's not even in the Mario video games at all, but is in this movie. And so for the sake of ruining it for 5 people, maybe, I won't say, but it was a character that has been around since the original Super Nintendo, but was never part of the Mario video games until they came together in this movie.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, we only have a couple of minutes left, so what's our question really quick?
Well, I realize that maybe this is the wrong question for the two of you, but
I know.
What movie have you watched that you think would make a great video game?
Well, my immediate answer was Jumanji, which the first movie was a board game.
It was a board game,
and
you're
then
right.
It became a video game, and then the second movie was a video game, right? I'm just not a video gamer. Look, I played Pong back in the day.
That's a video game.
I know,
That's great.
like it's that long ago. So, and maybe I played a little bit of Tetris, but that was mine.
But if
Jumanji.
you watched a movie that was like super cool, so that's a great suggestion, Jumanji. What about you, Greg?
So I was stuck on an airplane once, and you can sort of pick the movies, and I watched at least half of the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And it was painful, and it had Keanu Reeves. It was one of the John.
Don't you dare say what I think you're about
movies.
to say.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like he must have killed like 300 people, and I'm like, I cannot watch this anymore. And it was just like, just punching and jumping, and
That sounds like
it
a
looked
video
like a
game.
video game. I mean, it was so poorly acted. I don't know.
You're right on with that. That's one of mine.
Oh, seriously?
In fact, in John Wick 4, it's the closest thing I've ever seen in a movie to actually looking like you're watching a video game.
Yeah.
Because they have this scene where they're up above the room and he's shooting people with flame guns and all this stuff.
I thought it was based on a video game when I was watching it, so I'm behind the times here.
Nope, it was original. And I don't know if they've made a video game, but okay.
So Andy, you and I had the same movie?
Yeah, we did. John Wick.
How about you, Val? Quickly.
I think we need to have like a rom-com video game.
Okay,
Could
I
we
can
have
do
like
that.
Emily in Paris as a video game?
Rom-com.
Pick the right outfit to get the guy.
That would be funny. I mean, come on, maybe.
There can be a
Hey, maybe they already
superhero
have it.
element. Maybe she saves people. I don't know. Fights
All right.
crime with her shoes. I have no idea.
I want you guys to know that I went the whole segment without blah, blah, blah. So
good.
you
We did
nailed
a
it,
good
as
job.
always.
All right. Thank you so much. Look, we're going to turn things over to you guys with the KSL Movie Show. Everybody listening, have a great Easter and General Conference weekend. Passover, if you're celebrating Passover. We'll be back on Monday.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.